One day, my daughter Laura and I were invited to my husband Kimball's parents' house for dinner. As dishes prepared by Kimball's mother, Michaela, came out father-in-law, and I approached the table, the five of us enjoyed a pleasant conversation.
How wonderful it would be if Kimball were here.
Last year, Kimball passed away at the young age of 33. This dinner invitation was probably out of concern for me, looking gaunt after losing Kimball. After the meal, as we were cleaning up, it seemed Laura had fallen asleep from all the excitement. Once things had calmed down, Michaela suddenly became serious and wanted to talk, with both her and my father-in-law, Davin, looking at me nervously.
What could this be about?
Their tension was palpable. Sienna, the thing is... Yes. We were wondering if you would consider remarrying to Sheridan, our other son. We'd like to ask you from our hearts, please think it over. My heart raced audibly. Turning to Kimball's twin brother, my brother-in-law Sheridan, he was looking directly at me. I couldn't hide my turmoil and felt as if I might faint. Sienna, could we talk in private?
Yes.
Sheridan led me to the room Kimball once used. Entering timidly, I saw the model kits and figurines Kimball loved as a child still there.
Kimball.
I became nostalgic, remembering the early days of meeting Kimball in college and visiting this room. I have something I need to say. What is it? I'm sorry, I knew. Sheridan's confession begins a remarkable story surrounding me and the twin brothers. I am Sienna, 32 years old. My husband Kimball, who was 2 years older than me, passed away last year. He was slowly taken by a disease that progressed quietly. He was only 33 years old. I could never have imagined that he, a diligent researcher at a pharmaceutical company, would face such a fate. He was always eager to help others, striving to be useful to someone, to save lives. The cruel twist of fate was something I could hardly come to terms with. After all, one day, my daughter and I were suddenly left alone in this world, just the two of us. For anyone, there is no certain tomorrow. Yet, I can't help but ask, why? There will never be another tomorrow with Kimball in my life. A year has passed, and his room remains as it was that day. Even now, it feels like the warmth of his fingers at the last moment is still in my hand. With trembling hands and a quivering voice, I embraced the soul of the person who left me behind. Now, everything in daily life has changed, but what hasn't changed is this ring on my left hand and my feelings for Kimball. Touching the ring, I vividly recall the scenery of that day. Kimball. Tracing my finger over the photo of us two, propped up on the living room shelf. A photograph taken in the blue sea of Hawaii in early summer. A vibrant world alive with fish of every color swimming dreamily overhead. To love and be loved by someone as I was by him, I doubt will ever happen again in my life. My tears have dried up. No matter how much I long for it, the person I love will not return to this world. With time, the vividness of my sorrow grows, and I embrace these painful memories. My encounter with Kimball was back in our college days. Working part-time at a bookstore, Kimball was a senior, and I was a junior. But it was Kimball who confessed first. I like you. I want us to be together. That scene is still painfully etched in my heart. I was immediately drawn to Kimball, who was as bright and vibrant as the sun. Even though I was younger, I loved to laugh, cry, and get angry. Watching Kimball's ever-changing expressions and frolicking together was something I cherished. The day we first held hands, the day we first kissed. All the joys of my life since meeting Kimball were shared with him. Soon after, our relationship developed, and shortly after graduating from college, we got married and our beloved daughter, Laura, was born. But about 10 years into our marriage, Kimball suddenly fell ill and became someone who would never return.
Why didn't I notice Kimball's illness?
I only found out about his illness a month before he passed away. The regret is immeasurable now. In hindsight, there were many signs. He lost his appetite, visibly lost weight, and his complexion worsened. But he always said, "I'm just tired from work," never letting me or Laura suspect anything. Until his last day, he was as gentle as ever, unchanged. I lower my eyes, remembering Kimball's last gaze and smile. Behind my closed eyelids, I see a field of great blossoms and the fresh greenery of spring. In the bright spring sunlight of 10 years ago, we were united. I regret not noticing Kimball's illness and couldn't recover for a long time.
I'll probably never forgive myself.
I became a recluse, sometimes unable to step outside. But there was still something left for me. I have my daughter Laura. And by my side were Laura's grandparents, my in-laws, and Kimball's twin brother, Sheridan. They had all dedicatedly supported me after Kimball passed away. After Kimball died, I started working as a medical administrator at a large hospital, leveraging my qualifications. Sienna, don't hesitate to rely on us. Michaela, I can't thank you enough. I'm truly grateful. This was genuinely how I felt. Davin and Michaela would pick up and drop off Laura at the childcare center without a single complaint and would feed her dinner on the days I came home late from work. Being a full-time medical administrator and raising a daughter on my own was more challenging than I had imagined. I couldn't have managed without the help of Kimball's parents. Especially surprising was how well Bill, Sheridan, took care of Laura. Sienna, are you overdoing it? You've been looking a bit pale lately. Is that so? I'm sorry to worry you. I was internally shocked. Lately, I hadn't had much appetite and hardly ate proper meals. I felt like I had lost some weight. I've been feeling under the weather. My body felt sluggish and I hadn't been sleeping well at night. Even Laura had become worried about me recently, which really made me anxious. Truth be told, I found it difficult to talk with Sheridan. Kimball and Sheridan were very close as twin brothers. After Kimball and I started dating following his confession, the first person he introduced me to was his brother, Sheridan. This is my brother. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. You must be Sienna. I've heard a lot about you from Kimball. I remember watching their identical smiles side by side with a sense of wonder. Seeing them together made it feel like there were two of the same person. More than 10 years had passed since then. Nothing had changed. Except for the fact that Kimball was gone. Sheridan wears glasses, but his face without them is eerily similar to Kimball's. Even though it's natural for twins, they looked so much alike that it was painful. It was as if Kimball had come back to life and come to see me. I felt dizzy and instinctively looked away from Sheridan. No matter how much they resembled each other, they were different people. I must not get them confused. Laura is my niece and Kimball's treasure. She's really adorable. Don't hesitate to ask for help when things get tough. Dad, Mom, and I were all on your side. Thank you. Laura is very fond of Sheridan, which helps a lot. Then, Laura came over. Sheridan, let's play. Hey, Mom, let's all go to the park together. Laura really loves Sheridan, doesn't she? But it's already dark outside, so the park is out of the question now. No, I want to play. Don't be stubborn. We'll go another time, okay? Laura, come play with Mom and me on your next day off. We'll play a lot then.
Promise?
Yes, promise. Duh. Sheridan. Laura almost called him Dad before correcting herself. They made a pinky promise. I felt guilty for unconsciously imposing the role of Dad on Sheridan. Laura is about to turn 6. Even at her young age, she must understand that Sheridan is not her real father. Yet her affection for him is likely because she senses that Sheridan's love for her is genuine, not just in form. Sheridan! Laura, good to see you. Laura ran to Sheridan with energy and hugged him. She looked truly happy. Seeing Sheridan lovingly embrace and soothe Laura, I nearly let tears escape. They looked too much alike. Him, Kimball. At that moment, I couldn't help but wonder why Kimball wasn't here, but his twin brother was. Oh, God. I discreetly dabbed at my eyes, trying not to let my tears show. That day, Laura and I were invited to Kimball's parents' house for dinner. Michaela, let me help. Why don't you relax today? Sienna, you seem tired lately. Michaela is a calm and kind person, always smiling warmly at us. Even now that Kimball is gone. It's okay. I want to help with something. Thank you. Could you then prepare the hamburger meat over there? Yes. I put on an apron and stood in the kitchen. Spending time with family truly warms the heart. In the living room next door, I could hear Sheridan and Laura playing happily.
How wonderful it would be if Kimball were here.
As dishes prepared by Michaela arrived, father-in-law led us to the table. We enjoyed a pleasant conversation among the 5 of us. After the meal, as we were cleaning up, it seemed Laura had fallen asleep from all the excitement. Once things had settled down, Michaela suddenly became serious and wanted to talk. Both Davin and Michaela were looking at me with strangely tense expressions.
What could this possibly be about?
I could feel the tension transferring to me. Sienna, what I wanted to talk about is... Yes. We were wondering if you would consider remarrying to Sheridan, our other son. I would also like to ask you, please think it over. I could feel my heart pounding audibly. Turning to Sheridan, he was looking straight into my eyes. I couldn't hide my turmoil and felt as if I might faint. Sienna, could we talk just the 2 of us? Yes. Sheridan led me to the room Kimball once used. Entering timidly, I saw the model kits and figurines Kimball loved as a child still there.
Kimball.
I became nostalgic, remembering the early days of meeting Kimball in college and visiting this room. I have something I need to say. What is it? I'm sorry, but I actually knew about Kimball's illness. What do you mean? Since when did you know? Since last summer, I think. He confided in me about his illness. But he made me promise not to tell you or Laura. That's unbelievable. Why would he? I collapsed to my knees, overwhelmed. According to Sheridan, this is what happened. About 2 years ago, Kimball started feeling unwell without a known cause and decided to see a doctor. Unnatural weight loss, jaundice, swelling, persistent fatigue, and a mysterious sense of malaise that wouldn't improve with rest. Then a serious illness was discovered. It was liver cancer. Afterward, he was transferred to a university hospital, but due to his youth, the progression was fast, and his symptoms hardly improved. Wanting to spare me, who is prone to worry, any mental distress, Kimball decided to keep his illness a secret until the very end. Initially, Kimball continued working while hiding his illness, but eventually reached his limit. He confided only in his parents and his twin brother, Sheridan, asking for their support in treatment. Kimball had told our parents and me, if anything happens, please take care of Sienna and Laura. Hearing that, my mind went blank. Sienna, would you marry me? The proposition was so sudden that I felt dizzy. How can you say that so suddenly?
Was his request meant for me to marry him, or was it something else?
Overwhelmed with confusion and turmoil, I realized I had started crying. It's too much. What about my feelings? Everyone is being so cruel. I should have been the one to know, and yet I was the only one who didn't. I can't stand this.
I stormed out of the room.
Sienna.
Seeing me cry and run out of the room, my in-laws were shocked, but I couldn't stay any longer and took Laura home with me. Sheridan, who had followed me, was left dumbfounded, clutching his head. The next day, after receiving a call from Sheridan, I hesitated but decided to meet him for a talk after work. It was at a stylish cafe not far from my workplace. Laura was being looked after by my in-laws again today, so it would have been fine to talk there, but Sheridan suggested it would be better to talk away from that house, to stay calm. Sienna, I'm sorry for surprising you like that yesterday. Sheridan appeared formal and seemed a bit tense. How could I possibly hate him? He's the beloved brother of the person I loved most. Please don't worry about it. I'm sorry for getting so emotional myself. An awkward silence followed. Only the lively jazz music from the cafe flowed between us. Listen, I'm not bringing this up just because it was Kimball's dying wish.
Why then?
I'm worried about you. It's not just that. You were the only one my brother ever loved. We have a duty to protect you.
A duty?
Sheridan's voice was calm, filled with a gentleness as if soothing a small child. I'm really worried about you. Sienna, haven't you been feeling unwell lately? No, that's not it. My parents noticed you've become thinner and seem to be forcing yourself to act cheerful, and they're worried. I was surprised. That was exactly right. The last time I looked at myself in the mirror in a well-lit place, I seemed like a completely different person. My cheeks were hollowed, my skin had lost its luster, and I was terribly thin. Maybe I've been too desperate to live after Kimball passed away, pretending not to notice. I was shocked. I hadn't realized how much I had changed until someone else pointed it out. So my parents thought, no, it's presumptuous to say to save you, to help you feel better. They wondered if marrying me, someone who resembles Kimball, might help. Even so, there was something forced about that marriage.
But marriage isn't a charity.
Of course, it's not. This isn't charity. I myself want to do this.
What do you mean?
After a moment of silence, Sheridan revealed something shocking.
I've liked you for a long time.
I was speechless at the sudden confession.
It all started from something trivial.
Sheridan looked out the window, reminiscing about the past. He began to talk about a prank from when he and Kimball were in college. When Kimball was a college student, he worked at the same bookstore as I did, and Sheridan worked part-time at a nearby cafe. As a typical twin prank, they sometimes switched places, working at each other's jobs. At that time, Kimball and I weren't dating yet, and Sheridan had feelings for me, but Kimball was the one who confessed his feelings first. I'm sorry for keeping quiet all this time. I had no idea.
When we switched, we'd change our hairstyles, and I wore contacts.
I see. I had no clue they were pulling such pranks. Without realizing it was Sheridan who had switched places, I found myself acting oddly towards him as Kimball, and I almost couldn't help but smile at the absurdity of it. Though I had heard back then about the twin brother.
My feelings for you haven't changed.
Sheridan's eyes were looking straight into mine. Sheridan. His earnest gaze made my heart flutter. Has he really been thinking of me for over 10 years, since our college days? What should I do? I looked down at my iced tea in my hands. Of course, I'm not asking for an immediate answer. Take your time to think about it. I nodded silently. It was clear that Sheridan's feelings were genuine. I was sure of it.
We should go to the hospital.
Sheridan was actually a doctor. However, since internal medicine wasn't his specialty, he recommended a different internal medicine clinic than the one he worked at. He had been worried about my unusual thinness since Kimball's death, but he knew that not all causes could be attributed to mental stress alone. He also had Kimball's situation in mind. It's not impossible for someone young to have a severe illness progress unnoticed. He had thought it best to get checked at a major hospital.
Yes, you're right. If something were to happen to me, Laura would undoubtedly be the one to suffer the most.
I agreed to get the causes of my rapid weight loss, lethargy, and insomnia examined at the hospital. 10 days later, the tests showed that there were no internal medical issues.
The doctor suggested that mental stress might be the cause, but is this really okay?
With a vague sense of anxiety, I contacted Sheridan again to meet. It was a drizzly autumn day. Sheridan, having finished work earlier, offered to pick me up from the hospital in his car. Michaela had picked up Laura from the childcare center earlier and was taking care of her. Wanting to avoid making Laura anxious by overhearing any distressing discussions, we decided to talk at Sheridan's apartment instead of his parents' house. Stepping out of the car, Sheridan shared his umbrella with me, and we walked together to his apartment. Tall Sheridan tilted the umbrella to shield me.
His height and the way he walks are so similar to Kimball's. They really are twin brothers.
But there was a comfort in his presence that couldn't be explained by mere resemblance. Entering his apartment, I saw a tidy living room with minimal furniture and belongings.
May I come in?
Please. After a while, Sheridan served me warm cocoa to help warm up my chilled body. He seemed to be drinking coffee himself.
Sheridan knows I don't like coffee.
Remembering Sheridan's recent confession, I felt a slight ache in my heart, wondering if his feelings for me were genuine.
Am I exploiting Sheridan's affection for me? Is he serious about remarrying his sister-in-law?
As I pondered, Sheridan, who had finished his coffee, started speaking calmly.
Earlier in the car, you mentioned that there were no internal diseases, but what about considering this?
Sheridan was actually a psychiatrist. His suggestion to visit an internal medicine clinic first was a decision made because he was a doctor. I listened intently to Sheridan's explanation. According to Sheridan, the rapid weight loss, sleep disturbances, and episodes of anxiety I was experiencing could be symptoms of a mental health issue. A diagnosis couldn't be confirmed without a thorough examination and consultation, but given my current symptoms, it was a likely possibility.
Now that you mention it,
I realized there were indeed many things that resonated with me. Recently, I've been waking up multiple times at night, remembering when Kimball passed away, and sometimes when I'm in crowded places like trains or stations, I get episodes of hyperventilation and severe headaches.
If you'd like, please come to my hospital next time. We have skilled doctors. If you're uncomfortable being seen by someone in the family, it's okay to see another doctor.
Sheridan, thank you really. But
I have something I want to ask.
What do you want to ask?
Why are you so good to me? To you, I'm just your sister-in-law.
At that moment, Sheridan seemed deeply hurt. He sighed, took a deep breath, and said,
"Didn't I tell you before? I've always liked you. Even before Kimball and you got married."
Sheridan missed his chance to express his feelings because Kimball confessed to me first, and after we got married, he suppressed his feelings. Suddenly, Sheridan hugged me.
"I like you, Sienna." Wait, let go."
The warmth from his strong arms made my chest tight.
"I'm sorry, that must have startled you. Please forgive me."
Sheridan quickly let go. No, it's okay. My heart is still racing. Is it because he resembles Kimball? Or is it something else? What I wanted to say was, it's not because I was told by my parents or because it was Kimball's last wish. I said I wanted to marry you because it's my own true will. I couldn't look directly into Sheridan's eyes because of the nervousness. It's okay if you still love Kimball. You can use me if it helps you recover. To use you, that's not. To confess my feelings to you might not be permissible. I thought I would take these feelings to my grave. But thinking of you being alone, I couldn't bear it. Sheridan's earnest voice and gaze nearly overwhelmed me. I understand. But please let me think about it a little. I need to sort out my feelings. That night, after bringing Laura back from Kimball's parents' house, I fell asleep immediately due to exhaustion. But various thoughts raced through my mind, keeping me awake. Me remarrying. Sheridan, Kimball's brother. Even if he wants it too, is it really something that can be allowed? 2 months later, I started treatment at the psychiatric clinic introduced by Sheridan. Naturally, Sheridan was my primary physician. Gradually, I began to recover, and my symptoms significantly improved. A month passed with nothing remarkable happening since Sheridan's shocking confession. I followed Sheridan's advice and went for a consultation. As usual, Michaela was looking after Laura, and I occasionally met and talked with Sheridan, who remained unchanged. Calm and kind. "I'll wait," he said, smiling, waiting for my answer. On this day, I had decided something. It was to tell Sheridan my answer to his proposal. It was on a clear autumn day. Walking in a coat during an Indian summer felt warm. After talking at the cafe, Sheridan and I walked under the poplar trees. The business district on Sunday was quiet, with few people around. Walking on the brightly colored fallen leaves brought a gentle, strange feeling. "Sheridan, I have something to tell you." Resolved, Sheridan stopped and looked straight at me. "Yes." An unspoken tension passed between us. "About the matter of remarrying, what if we did this?" Sheridan quietly watched me. "Instead of suddenly getting married, I'd like to start by dating first. Is that okay?" Sheridan was surprised. It seemed like an unexpected answer to him. "Of course, that's fine. But I wonder if that will be enough to support you, Sienna." "I've thought about it, and considering Davin and Michaela's wishes, even if we don't get married immediately, how about the three of us, including Laura, start living together first?" "Understood. I have no objections. I would be happy to do that. I'm glad." "But are you sure? I indeed still like you. Just the thought of living together makes me very happy. But I don't want to pressure you. There might be other ways to support you and your daughter without getting married." "No, I want to do this. I thought about just getting married without much thought to comply with your parents' wishes. But you're not a substitute for Kimball. Even if you look exactly like him, you are Sheridan. I want to face you properly as an individual. That's why." Before I knew it, I was on the verge of tears. At that moment, Sheridan gently held my hand and smiled. "I understand. Your message has been clearly received. Thank you, Sienna." His gentle eyes looking at me over his glasses reminded me of someone familiar. Someday, I might realize that I love Sheridan. And from now on, I will view him not as Kimball's brother but as Sheridan, a person in his own right. This was the moment I finally took a step towards a new life. When we told Sheridan's parents about our decision to live together, they were delighted to accept it. And so was my daughter, Laura.
We get to live with Sheridan. Yay! That's right, Laura. We can play together every day from now on.
Sheridan lifted Laura into the air as if she was his own daughter, proudly raising her towards the sky. By the next year, with the dedicated support of Sheridan and our family, my illness was completely healed. By then, the headaches and anxiety attacks had also disappeared. And then came the spring of that year. It was a light-filled afternoon, with cherry blossoms dancing in the spring breeze. On a holiday afternoon, as we were walking under the cherry blossoms along the river with Laura, Sheridan stopped on a small bridge over the clear stream. The delicate pink petals danced down, landing on our shoulders and hair.
Sienna, will you marry me?
It was the second proposal I had received in my life. Without hesitation, I looked into Sheridan's eyes and answered,
Yes. Thank you, Sienna.
I've decided to affirm and live through everything I've experienced in this life, both the hardships and the pains. From now on, too. This was my resolution. Tears were shining in Sheridan's eyes. He took off his glasses and wiped away his tears. Sheridan, what's wrong? I will wipe away your tears for you. Laura, looking puzzled, wiped Sheridan's tears with a handkerchief.
Thank you, Laura. Laura, from now on, Sheridan will become your real dad. Your other dad.
While saying this, I too couldn't stop the tears quietly flowing. Kimball, I've been proposed to by Sheridan. Can I be happy again? I asked, looking up at the blue sky. That day, the three of us visited Kimball's grave. We carefully cleaned the tombstone and decorated the vase with flowers Laura had picked. Kimball was no longer with us. What would Kimball think about me being with his brother Sheridan? There's no answer. But Kimball will always be in our hearts. That much will never change. From now on, together with Kimball in our hearts, the four of us will live on. That summer, we held a small photo wedding in Hawaii, just the three of us. It being my second marriage, I wanted a small ceremony with just close family. Hawaii was also a place of memories I visited with Kimball. That year, Sheridan and I were blessed with a baby boy. And then another one the following year. I no longer hesitate. For the sake of those who love me, I will firmly hold Sheridan's hand and walk this path.